Now, BP has been getting all its employees off its Valhall oilfield operations in the North Sea due to a threat by a floating barge. But now it seems they are in the clear as the unmanned barge has passed the installation. Now the company has shut all oil and gas production. The barge broke free of its anchor during a storm. The bad weather has already taken its toll. Statoil and COSL say one person who was working at their oil field near Bergen has died. For more, senior international correspondent Fred Blightcon joins us here in London. They weren't taking any chances on this.
No, they certainly weren't. And they described what they were doing there with that barge as sort of the operations after a hurricane. And what was taking place there in the North Sea was a storm with hurricane-force winds. Now, we heard from Statoil, and they said some of the waves that ensued from this very powerful storm were up to 14 meters tall. So that's one of the reasons why that one person was killed in the Troll oil field on that platform there. But also, of course, the main reason why that barge became dislodged. And you're absolutely right to describe that they weren't taking any chances at all, because then this barge, which is about 110 meters long, so it's more than 300 feet long, was drifting towards the Valhall oil field, which has 8 platforms in total, and they simply didn't want to take any chances and started evacuating people with helicopters. Now, luckily, that barge has gone past this oil field, but they haven't been able to take control of that barge yet. We know that the company that this barge belongs to has been trying to take control of it. So far, they have not been able to. They've been tracking it, so they know exactly where it is. And that's one of the reasons why they were able to give this all clear now. But they certainly don't want to take any chances, especially with the weather the way it is and has been over the past couple of days there in the North Atlantic region.
Well, this is all linked in, obviously, to these horrendous storms that have been happening not just here in the UK, but also in the US and South America.
Freak weather in the Northern Atlantic region that has caused the temperature in the North Pole to just skyrocket there, and then has caused these massive storms to ensue in the circular form there in the Northern Atlantic region, and is something that has led to major storm damage in Scotland, for instance, and of course also especially in that region where a lot of these oil platforms are. We have to keep in mind that there's not been a fatality in Norwegian oil production in 2009. And so this is the first one that there has been. And that just goes to show how powerful these storms were, even though the oil companies say they were absolutely prepared for this. They knew this was coming, and they had taken precautions, for instance, in the Troll oil field, shutting down some of the platforms there before the storm even hit. And yet tragedy has still struck there. So really some very inclement weather going on there in the North Atlantic region that certainly seemed to have overpowered even these measures that were taken by these oil companies.